Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about this ongoing health crisis that is plaguing our nation and the globe. Specifically, though, we're going to be talking more about lockdowns today. This has been a very controversial subject, and I've gotten some backlash by talking about it here on this channel. So let me go ahead and explain things, be careful this time, and let you guys know what's really going on and what I really think about everything. Basically, I talked about Sweden not locking down before, and we kind of supported the idea that they probably should have locked down because their neighbors that locked down saved a lot of lives. Now, that wasn't a necessarily totally pro-lockdown video. Some might have misinterpreted it that way, and I know there was a little confusion, but basically I was saying in that case, Sweden should have locked down then, but in other situations, like in these news stories in Michigan, Huntington Beach, and we're about to talk about one in Florida, people are considering opening up and ending lockdowns now, and I think that can be good too. If you're in the right area and people are prepared, people have their cleaning products and ready to social distance and keep themselves clean and safe, it is proper and right to consider opening other places up. Now, this was a big story in Michigan. They had a lot of demonstrations and people speaking up publicly at the vote saying they wanted to open their state. And now we're going to be talking about Florida because the beaches have started to open in Florida and people are kind of getting excited to get back out there. One important thing to note too is a beach is a very safe place as far as these kinds of virus spreading situations concerned. I mean, in the beach you could spread out, there's plenty of room, there's a hot sun to kind of fight back the virus so it can't spread as far. Granted, if you're bumping together and you had a real crowded beach, that would be bad, but we're talking about Florida, which has miles and miles of beaches all around the state, almost around all four sides. And yeah, there's a good argument to say beaches should reopen, and that's what's been happening across the state in certain places. And today we're talking about a certain beach in a certain place up in North Florida that's had a very interesting visitor. I've got a news report video to go over that's very funny. It has about 9 million views, and it features a cute blonde reporter kind of introducing this very funny character. You might have heard about this before, but recently there's been a guy sort of demonstrating and protesting against opening the beaches, and he's been doing so by dressing up as the Grim Reaper. For those who don't know, the Grim Reaper is sort of this death incarnate person who comes to the earth in fairy tales and in myths and legends and stuff. The Grim Reaper is the agent of death. They come to you, and if they touch you, you die, and people see the Grim Reaper before they die in movies and stuff. You know how all that goes. We don't need that backstory. So essentially in this case, a guy is dressing up as the Grim Reaper to send a message. He wants to kind of demonstrate at beaches and show people to be careful by kind of almost scaring them, but I think it's more like a Halloween costume. I mean, we'll see the guy in the video soon. He has a pretty legit Grim Reaper look and get up, but it's essentially a demonstration, a public show of him being against opening up, and that's a whole other argument whether these beaches should open or close. I mean, you guys could debate amongst yourselves in the comments, but like I said, I think it's time to start considering reopening places if people are safe, if we keep the numbers down and have everyone spread out at the beach. It's definitely something to consider, and I think it's time to kind of work our way out of lockdown if that's safe enough. If things are lowering the cases and the deaths and the curve is flattened, that's definitely a situation we could consider. But this Grim Reaper guy seems to disagree with that, and that's besides the point. Really what we're talking about is this is a funny story. It's a Grim Reaper guy at the beach, and the other funny part about it is the way they have him on the news is hilarious. It's like he's on the news and he gets interviewed and he has a microphone and then he starts talking normal. It's really funny. So let's go ahead and jump into the video next, and then we could talk more about how funny this is. So here's the girl at the beach.
Good morning, Chris. I'm at Miramar Beach Access 49 here in Walton County, and today is a pretty big day. The beaches are fully reopened for the first time in more than a month. And while some residents are happy, some are not. And one of those people is Walton County resident and Florida lawyer Daniel Olfelder. Today he's going to be protesting the beaches being open, all while dressed as the Grim Reaper. And I'm actually joined by him now. I'm going to step out of the frame and hand him the mic so he can explain why he's here and why he is dressed the way that he is.
Great introduction, great news reporter lady voice. I love seeing that there's more and more pretty girls getting jobs in reporting. That's always fun. But really, she's doing a proper introduction. She's about to pass it off to the Grim Reaper. A few things before we get to that. Look at the beach behind her. We can see people are spread out. They're fully distanced. I mean, it's not a problem here. This is a smaller area. I think Walton County is near Panama City somewhere. So again, we're not talking about opening up spring breaks or really crowded beaches. We're not talking about getting Miami Beach totally packed for some party. We're talking about private people going to the beach in smaller numbers, separating and getting out there and safely kind of exercising, enjoying our lives, not making everything so locked down and scary. I know it's important to stay safe and to stay clean, but I think we've had a lot of places, in places with lower numbers and proper preparation. This lockdown has already done the right thing. It's gotten us prepared. Everyone knows to be cleaner now, to wear masks and gloves and have sanitizer and what have you. And this guy is obviously protesting that. But I think the Grim Reaper guy, we can already see he's kind of doing this for his own attention a little bit. The girl in the report mentioned that he's a lawyer, which I think has something to do with this. He kind of is almost promoting his law firm in this, but also he's showing a strong stance for lockdowns. I think that sentiment is not really that strong in America right now. I think right now, honestly, the only people that want to keep things locked down longer are a lot of liberals who are usually not working anyway, for one, and for two, they want to shut down our economy and make this lockdown last as long as possible, all the way up until election, because there is a political motivation there. They want to stop Trump. They want to shut down the country for as long as possible so that Trump doesn't win the election in November. So that's kind of the backstory. But next, let's see what this Grim Reaper finally looks like.
I think it's premature that we open our beaches. I'm a huge proponent of public beaches, and I've been fighting for that for years, but I think that the danger of bringing all the people here to our area and spreading the virus, and I think it's going to prolong the recovery we have, and I think that we should take better measures, and it's drawing people from all over the world to our beautiful beaches. It's too soon, and it's not appropriate.
Okay, there are some points in there, I understand. I think I remember this at the beginning of the lockdown when there were a few beaches that considered opening up, and that was kind of an issue earlier on, because if you just open one beach in a state or an area, then everyone's going to flood to there, and if it gets too crowded, then that's going to cause its own problem, because then we're just creating an issue where everyone's in a crowd and everyone is coming from all over the state to this one beach. Now, that's not necessarily the case now anymore, because multiple beaches are opening across the board, so there's more places to spread out, and I think it is kind of an issue where it's up to you, but I think people should have the freedom to choose. We're in America, we have rights, and I think if you want to go to the beach, if you want to have some sort of risk, that's up to you. If you don't want to risk it, you can stay home. That's always your choice and your right as well. And I think the harder argument is trying to tell people to lock down when they don't want to, especially here, like I said, especially in America. People are just used to a certain amount of freedom here. And if you can't do what you want when you want, I mean, I know it sounds spoiled, I know it sounds a little childish, but people honestly should be able to risk that if they want to. Risk versus reward is something you have to deal with in all of your life. You always could get sick. The virus wasn't the only thing that ever came out that could get you hurt. There's lots of things that are scary in the world, things that could hurt you. So there's always risk versus reward when you go out in the public. I know it's different now and we're in a different world now. But yeah, I think anyone that keeps strongly being pro-lockdown is looking more and more authoritarian, and then also more and more like big government and political. Again, like I said, I'm sure this lawyer is likely a liberal. He's likely a pro-Biden guy. And anyone else supporting lockdowns right now, like the governor in Michigan, Whitmer, is trying to be Biden's VP. She's a big Democrat. Other places that are having issues, Democrats in Chicago. We just talked about the Chicago quarantine parties in another video, and they're trying to lock those down, and that's a more justifiable situation to lock down. But again, if you look at these beaches behind this guy in this picture, you can see it's not a big crowd. It's not like we're talking about some kind of rock concert and everyone's in a mosh pit, not a big sporting event, not even like a movie theater where you're sitting next to everyone really close. This is a spread out beach. There's plenty of room, not that many people yet. Now, there is a problem and a risk of a lot of people showing up, but that's why we just need to wait and see if that happens. Send the cops there. There are probably cops patrolling the beaches already, making sure the numbers stay down. Each beach, each area can have a certain number of people, and then they have to lock it off and stop it or wait for people to leave. And I think that's the best you can really do right now. Keeping the lockdowns going is just a losing cause. No one's asking for that, and I feel the same way.
Thank you, Daniel. Now, Daniel is going to be beginning his protest right now, and he's going to be at a bunch of other Walton County beaches throughout the day. We're going to have his full story and how people are reacting later tonight on News 13. Reporting live in Miramar Beach, Faith Graham, News 13, Panhandle Strong.
Faith Graham News 13, 9.8 million views, by the way. That video is really a hot topic. Glad we could cover it today. I did think it was funny if we could see this last part again, because the Grim Reaper behind her with the staff is looking kind of funny. She's just moving that sickle, the Grim Reaper has, and she's just talking all normal, but she's keeping it together. Good report, good video, funny message. I think there's a good debate to be had about lockdowns, pro-lockdown, anti-lockdown. That's what we'll discuss in the comments below. Hopefully I cleared some things up and you guys can understand where I'm coming from with my lockdown thoughts. I was never trying to say it was pro in this area necessarily, because we already locked down in America a long time ago, and we've had our time to prepare and to get everyone safe and getting their masks and whatever ready. Locking it down was good in the beginning. Now it's getting a little old, but it possibly could have helped in a country like Sweden again if they'd done so in the beginning. But that's a different country too, and I've heard some arguments against locking down there. Some people said that was a good idea. But then I also saw a video of a guy from Sweden saying they should have locked down sooner. So there's a lot of debate here. It's a very controversial subject. Hopefully you guys can understand that and not come really hardcore at me one way or the other. I know that there's a lot of disagreements and a lot of strong feelings on this, so I hope we cover both sides properly. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, comment your thoughts on everything below. Thanks again for watching No Bullshit. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and until next time, have a great day.